I have a lot of gratitude to all of you. You've made me look really good because, it could have been a disaster, but it's been fantastic. And very initially, there was some negative nervousness, but everybody's sort of come around, at least in the service structure, to really loving the podcast. And when I go to regional forums, I ask how many people have heard the podcast, and a lot of hands go up. And then other people come up to me afterwards. How do I get it? How do I get it? There's still people who ask questions like, well, how much does it cost? And what time is that program on?
Yeah, what time is it on?
Anytime you want.
I heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the Grapevine half-hour variety hour 3-year anniversary.
Woohoo! Yay!
Right.
I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hey, Don. Hey, everybody. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
And I'm still Olis, an alcoholic in Oakland, California.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm an alcoholic currently in the Adirondack Mountains of New York.
All right. This is so wonderful. It's our 3rd year anniversary. The first episode of the AA Grapevine half-hour variety hour dropped on October 4th, 2021. And we've been having a blast with all of this. When we record, a little background on what's going on here. We scheduled, usually it's 2 hosts and a guest, and we all meet online through the common meeting app service that we all tend to use. So many of us tend to use for online AA meetings, and we record in doing that. And we get to have so much fun because, we get to see each other and we laugh and have a blast. But then we take this raw recording, and through the magic of editing, we wind up sounding like we absolutely know what we're going to say every time, and that it just flows perfectly from our mouths. It's absolutely incredible. And it's all a lie, and it's all through the magic of editing.
No pauses, no hesitations.
No spoken pauses.
No searching for words in my mind. Except that Alice very frequently can pull out a big book quote, and I'll tell you, she pulls it out of her mind.
She's been a fantastic addition to this show. Yes. We needed someone who actually knew what they were talking about.
But as we will all soon hear, reading a script, not my long suit. In the acting voices, I got here and I was like, what is that?
There's a surprise.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Well, one of the things that also happens with all of the editing that Don and Bob do for the shows is they tend to take out little snippets of things they think might be interesting for later on in the year, like maybe, I don't know, an anniversary special.
You got to save this stuff.
And put it all together, and then we wind up doing what we're doing right now, where we're all going to, well, Don's already heard these things, but the rest of us have not heard these. We don't know what we're getting into.
We know what we're getting into. We know.
It's a quagmire. And so this is where we're going into outtake time.
I've got 3 batches of outtakes to play, and the first is pre-recording shenanigans.
Also known as Chaos Monkeys.
All of the 2023-2024 outtakes are going to be Sam reminding Don to start recording.
And they won't exist because I won't have started the recording. So.
And
record on this computer recording.
Don, you gonna let me record?
I did. Didn't I?
Record.
I got remove permission.
Don't you?
I'm not going to do that.
Don't you do it?
No, but I am going to put you in the waiting room.
You are not the boss of me.
Look at that! Look at what you did!
Totally did that to me.
I just admitted him.
Oh my God! You are so rude. I can't believe you did that.
It's not rude. I just wanted you to know what could happen if you don't behave yourself.
Rude.
I don't know what to say.
Alice,
I'm your witness. I saw it.
Thank you.
What you saw was tough love.
I'm gonna sit down on the pity pot. remember to start your timer. You good?
I am messed up.
No more iced coffee for you.
That'll do it.
I am so glad we recorded that.
That probably got cut out. Debbie, since you're here, you are the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
See, we're just a little crazy here.
Wish I had my own sound effect.
I've got
but I
my
don't.
emotional support pickle in hand too, so I'm good.
You can never go back, Sam. Sam is now holding up his emotional support pickle. We do tend to have a little bit of fun before we hit the record button.
Well, we gotta get loose. We gotta help our guests get comfortable. It's hanging out in the coffee shop. This isn't an interview.
We are not a glum lot for sure.
Folks, we take Wits In, especially Sam, very seriously. Sam likes to put everything he has into it. He takes voice acting very, very seriously. First, you'll hear the finished Wits In joke from season 6, episode 22, Coffee Person. And then you'll hear the extensive preparation. So here's the finished joke first. Is it too late for me to get another cup of coffee?
Shh, no, go ahead. I'm starting a new pod anyway.
How long have you been making the coffee for this meeting?
Ever since the night I complained about the coffee to my sponsor.
Okay, we're in a meeting in the back of the kitchen, Sam.
Are we whispering, or is it an angry whisper because we're in the meeting?
That's probably a good idea. We're keeping it down. I could have a crowd noise a little bit in the background.
Who am I, Don? What's my motivation?
Put Sam in character.
You have 3 months of sobriety.
So is it tenuous sobriety? Am I still white knuckling it? Do I have a sponsor yet?
But you're willing, but you're not convinced.
And you have a sponsor and they're mean.
Yeah, you have a sponsor.
I have a mean sponsor.
You have a mean sponsor. You're wearing a checkered shirt. And no pants. It's just like normal.
But it's cold, so I'm wearing my hat with the earmuffs built in.
Yes, absolutely. And the coffee's bad.
Of course the coffee's bad. It's AA coffee.
That's right. It's getting harder and harder to get a bad cup of coffee, but you can do it in an AA meeting.
Oh, man, the things you do. I was laughing again. That was a fun one.
It was hilarious.
Okay. I love it.
Pants comment. That's the one.
People think that these Wits In jokes, we just toss them off, but no. There's a lot that goes into these.
And it has actually traumatized Olis, I think.
Yeah, I was a little bit shook.
Olis came on board this year. This is an incredible addition to the podcast. I love the different perspectives that she brings, and it's just been great. But
this is all the butter up to the humiliation that I'm not fooled by you, Don.
One of the things that she's incredible at speaking extemporaneously, and like I described earlier, just pulling out big book quotes, knows all the literature. But ask her to read a simple script, and as Olis was fond of saying again and again, I'm on the struggle bus here.
Are you sure it's a simple script, Don? Because you do try to throw some fun stuff in there from time to time that's just a little twisted. You have a mean
sometimes knowing Olis's struggle bus tendencies with this stuff, I have intentionally thrown in extremely long words and tongue twisters. I'm going to put tongue twisters in the script, but I don't need to.
This is a really good chance for you to make an amends. I'm just saying.
Well, make amends after this, because we're going to hear flubs. This is not just Olis, but these are various flubs and bloopers. Grapevine doesn't even accept contributions from AA members.
Wait, what?
If you want to support this podcast, visit AA Gripe. If you
A Gripevine?
Gripevine.
Right.
You just go to the Grapevine. Alice, you read that line.
Okay. Hey, why are all the hey, why are all these empty beer bottles? Hey, why are all these empty beer? Stop it! Stop it! Hey, why are all these empty beer bottles in the fridge?
Oh, those are for my friends who don't drink.
Pull yourself together, Todd. Pull yourself together.
It's like all you got to do is say this one line, and you just get more and more tangled the more you do it. And it's like the most natural line in the world. Hey, why are all these beer bottles? What?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Can I do it again?
Yeah.
I didn't know I was doing voice acting when I signed up for this job. I don't like it. What the
Bleepity bleep.
But okay. Ready?
Oh, we got to have so many outtakes now.
I'm putting that in now.
What you don't do to be of service.
You answered the call, Alice.
Oh.
It also brings about maybe a new adage: beware an AA bearing gifts.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're like the Elaine Bennis of the podcast. You wonder how you ever get through an episode.
Exactly. What I noticed in the scripts was that there was less and less me because they were like, we'll never finish if we give her lines.
You have gotten the hang of it. When we first started out, and understandably, it was a little nerve-wracking to start being a podcast host and running one of these shows.
And we did throw you into the deep end. There's no doubt about that. I mean, because there's really only way to do it, and that's jump in and do it.
Jump in and do it.
I, for one, am so glad you're here and joined the team, Alice.
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm not happy about it at all.
Okay, Sam, it's the waiting room for you.
No. So, we have so much fun on here. And I think it's one of those fantastic things to note that we are a fun-loving group of people, but we do take our recovery seriously. And I think that's one of the most important things to do. And a lot of the things that we talk about with our guests on these shows are really serious things because alcoholism is a serious issue. And, we found a solution. We found a way out. And it's so much fun to share it. It's so much fun to laugh and let people get comfortable with AA's solution to alcoholism. One of the things that has continued to impress me, and Chris is going to talk about this in a moment, is just the amount of listening that has happened, the increasing number of listeners, and the people that we get to meet when we're out and about at various AA events who are like, wait a minute, I know that voice.
It's an honor and it's thrilling.
It really is. Chris, talk to us about how amazing this podcast is.
I want to talk about how amazing Chris is. How about we do?
We want to have a little humility, guys, but I guess since we're having an anniversary celebration, it's okay. But what I'll say is I want to really thank you guys because this has really become a mainstay of the Grapevine. We've become a multimedia company over the past few years, and this has been really leading the way for us and opening a lot of doors. We've had 963,000 people listen to the podcast so far, and we're on track to go over 1 million this year. So you're figuring that we're averaging 6,073 per week, and we've had over 25,000 in this past month. It's helped so many members. We know that because we hear from them. We hear from them on our email. We hear from them in phone calls, and we hear from them out and about in the fellowship. A little known fact is there's probably thousands of podcasts out there in the world, and we're in the top 1.5% of all podcasts that are out there. So we're really making a big splash with it. This past Monday, we had a episode that was dedicated to the International Convention with Patrick from the International Convention Desk at the GSO. And it was our biggest single day ever. So a lot of people are obviously interested in the International Convention, and they turned to us to get the information about it. And then we had 2,432 just on Monday, and it's been building all week. You've really hit on the right mix of member sharing. I mean, that's what I really love the most, is hearing people's stories and hearing how they came into AA broken and now have a strong life in sobriety. But also you talk about different things that are happening in AA and, letting people get information about what's going on in the fellowship. So I have a real deep gratitude to you for helping Grapevine expand in digital media. And it's been a wonderful 3 years. I can't believe it's 3 years. I've only been here 3 years in August, and here we are 3 years for the podcast. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Chris. It's really incredible that we get to be there and be a part of this. And your continued support, occasional wisdom that we have to solicit from you to help us make a decision on something in regard to the podcast as well. As the publisher of the Grapevine, you are fantastic at taking care of us and helping us be a great tool that is in the arsenal that we all have within AA. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone who listens.
Absolutely.
I want to say something. Let me just jump on in.
Okay.
The book talks about how people don't understand in the chapter A Vision for You, how we're laughing because this is a life or death disease. Alcoholism absolutely kills. And it takes a lot to bring this to you. And so I want to thank Don and Sam for inviting me to join. Really, really an honor. But while we're here and you hear us, we're facing forward. Chris is behind the scenes, and we don't get a lot of the hits. I think Chris carries a lot of weight that people don't understand. And so I want to take this opportunity to say, thank you, Chris, for all of the behind the scenes work, for making sure that we've got the resources that we need, that you guide and direct us, and for trusting these two guys. I don't know why you did it, to bring me on, even though my reading skills are subpar. My book knowledge is good. And so I really want to say thank you, guys. Thank you for all of the work that you do to make this happen. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Olis.
Yeah, and I want to single out Najeen, who helps us out in the office, executive assistant, and Bob, who helps me with the editing of the podcast. Both of them are behind the scenes and help out a great deal.
It's a pretty fantastic team we've got here.
Really is.
There's also, you guys don't even realize this, but every Friday I post the Monday episode up to our host site. And our host site then gets the podcast out to all the different outlets, whether it's Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever it might be. But the podcast that goes on the website is done by Nyarka, our web manager. So that's another person that's on this team.
Thank you, Nyarka.
And lastly, thanks to all the listeners who listen, because we wouldn't still be doing this if it weren't for you.
Thank you for appreciating our corny jokes. Thank you for appreciating our efforts to make this accessible to everybody. As Sam said, there really is a way out.